Hey everyone, it's Luke here from LT Gaming and welcome back to the channel. We've done plenty of big sale videos over the years, but we've always had a soft spot for Wargames. They helped build this channel, and a lot of you found us through this really niche stuff. We've covered so many of these titles in past sales, so this one's more of a deep dive for the hardcore, but some personal favourites sprinkled in along the way. I guess you could say this is an LT Gaming love letter to Wargames and the developers who have partnered with us along the way. Before we get stuck in, drop a like if you appreciate us digging through the strategy trenches for you. It genuinely helps the channel and keeps these wargame lists alive, and both me and Tom greatly appreciate it. And one more thing, we want the comments to be a proper hub for the best wargame deals in the sale. So if you spot something we miss, or if you've got a recommendation or a warning, throw it in there and help everyone else out. Right, let's get into it. Strategic Mind Spirit of Liberty 40% off €14.99. This is a turn-based World War II strategy game focused on Finland's fight for survival, covering the Winter War, Continuation War, and Lapland War with a mix of historical scenarios and narrative missions. It leans into combined arms tactics, hero units, and terrain management, giving it a more detailed and cinematic edge than traditional hex wargames. It continues to get post-launch support, and the setting alone helps it stand out in a crowded genre. The learning curve is steep and some balance quirks remain, but for players who enjoy deep, historically grounded strategy, it's one of the strongest modern entries in the series.
Combat Mission Shock Force 2, 50% discount, €30.43. This is a detailed tactical wargame set in a fictional near-future Syria conflict, where you can command either NATO or Syrian forces in a turn-based WeGo or real-time mode. Think plotting movements, issuing fire orders, and managing combined arms from infantry to tanks, artillery, and air support. What sets it apart is the sheer depth. Line of sight, morale, suppression, armor penetration, and battlefield chaos all matter here. Less about flashy graphics and more about granular simulation of modern combat. If you're the kind of player who watches a Bradley knock out a T-72 and thinks about the armor angles rather than the explosions, then this one will be right up your alley.
RBM Studios Waterloo 20% off €3.99. This is a classic hex encounter take on the Battle of Waterloo, built very much in the style of old school tabletop wargames. You're commanding either Napoleon or the Allied forces with turn-based movement, terrain impacts, and short scenario structure that leans into fast traditional play rather than deep simulation. It captures that retro feel well, but the design is light with AI quirks and limited depth compared to modern historical wargames. It's great if you want a quick, board wargame style Waterloo fix, just don't expect a full-blown grognard system. But it really is a fast and interesting wargame to play, and brought to you by Bob Tipton, who's a huge fan and friend of the channel. So a shout out to you, Bob, for your constant support in the YouTube comments. We really appreciate it, and we happily support your awesome games. Mare Nostrvm 70% off, €5.85. You'll be ramming, boarding, and grappling with everything from light vessels to massive Roman ships, all while trying to outthink your opponent in the chaos of squadrons, fatigue, and limited command control. This one of course stands out for its rare focus on ancient naval warfare, something few games even touch. The WeGo order system adds a layer of tension as you commit to moves without knowing exactly what your enemy will do. That mix of planning and unpredictability makes every clash replayable, and for players who want something different from the usual gun and torpedo action, it's a hidden gem that still feels fresh today.
Kiloton, 50% discount, €2.49. This game is a dark, abstract blend of RTS and grand strategy set during the Cold War era. You're not managing armies in minute detail, instead it's about high-level decision making. Will I invade my annoying neighbour, or launch a bombing campaign on them, or practice my diplomatic skills? Cities are your economy here. They grow or shrink based upon your choices and decisions. If you like games where your choices ripple out and potentially tip the balance of global survival, this is going to be your kind of ride. Think DEFCON meets war games with some political spine.
Pike and Shot Campaign 76% off, €9.35. This is a turn-based wargame set in the Pike and Shot era, blending a strategic campaign layer with detailed battles from the 30 Years' War, English Civil War, and Great Turkish War. That's not a sentence you often heard muttered with wargames. You manage attrition, supply, and positioning on the map before committing to brigade-level engagements on the battlefield. It's an older title with no recent updates, but mods, custom scenarios and a loyal niche community have kept it alive. The UI and visuals show their age, yet for anyone who enjoys historical tactics from this period, and let's be honest, it's rare for it to be covered, it's still one of the most complete and satisfying adaptations out there.
Sudden Strike 4, 75% discount, €4.99. Sudden Strike 4 is a real-time tactics game set in World War II, where there's no base building or resource grind. It's about commanding infantry, tanks, aircraft and support units in historically inspired battles. You'll leverage terrain, flanks, cover and timing, and it has the play and pause mode that helps you issue commands when things get hectic. This one is for players who crave some raw tactical warfare. And it's worth a look now because the sequel is coming up, so playing this one is going to give you context, baseline, and appreciate when they upgrade or evolve in the next game.
Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail 50% off, €14.49. You'll be commanding ships of the line, frigates and smaller vessels, trimming sails of the wind, and trading thunderous volleys where every mast, cannon and plank can be the difference between victory and defeat. What makes it stand out in 2025 is how well it captures a feel of command during this era, which is of course one of my favourites. And the campaigns take you from small engagements to grand fleet actions, even blending in land battles and amphibious assaults for a varied approach. The realistic sailing model and detailed damage system still make every encounter feel authentic, and its historical weight gives it staying power long after its release. I really enjoyed this one and did find the game a real challenge overall. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who watch the channel are not subscribed, so make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly, and both me and Tom really appreciate it. Scourge of War Remastered 50% off, €9.24. This is a real-time battlefield simulation focused on regimental command where you issue orders and maneuver historically accurate units. You will fight across a sprawling 3D map without turn breaks. The remaster modernizes the visuals, terrain detail and AI while keeping the focus on realism and chain of command. Post-launch patches have improved stability, memory use and map fidelity, with bug fixes and refinements still coming. This really is one of the most authentic real-time offerings on PC, so definitely check it out, and this historical period is one of my favourite. Cold Waters 75% off, €9.24. Cold Waters drops you into the Cold War with a twist. You're commanding a submarine tasked with missions like intercepting convoys, halting amphibious landings, and even special operations insertions. What makes it stand out is the tension between advanced tech like wire-guided torpedoes, anti-ship missiles, and realistic sonar, and the constant risk of being hunted yourself. The waters you sneak through aren't just scenic, each depth, enemy contact, and sensor ping carries weight. Why Cold Waters still hits hard in 2025 is that it balances realism with approachability in a way many high-end sim fans praise. The dynamic campaigns change based on how you play, letting you feel like your choices matter. The variety in eras like 68, 84 and 2000 gives you different toolsets and challenges, so you don't get stuck doing the same thing. Plus, it really has some solid community love, updates, and the kind of replay value where you just want to try again just to avoid getting sunk. This one's a real gem.
SGS Heia Safari, 50% discount, €10.49. We're in the lesser known East African theatre of World War I here. You can either play as the Germans or the British, and the game spans multiple campaign scenarios, so you can play year by year, mid-campaigns, or the full war. Recently the game has been updated to SGS 1.5, adding new units, improved battle UI, and a bunch of fixes to movement and retreat rules. This one's going to hit the sweet spot if you're into historical war games that explore some odd fronts. If you've enjoyed SGS titles or campaign-based war sims like Decisive Campaign's Battleground, you're going to have an absolute blast with this one.
Carrier Battles 4 Guadalcanal 50% off, €12.49. Instead of flying the planes yourself, you're managing squadrons, tracking enemy fleets and making the call on when to commit your carriers or keep them hidden. With scenarios covering Midway, Coral Sea, Santa Cruz and of course Guadalcanal, it's a game that captures the high-stakes chess match of carrier warfare. This one still stands out in 2025 because every decision feels razor sharp. There are no flashy effects to lean on here. The tension comes from planning, guessing and reacting to the enemy's moves. The AI puts up a real fight, the scenarios are polished and varied, and the game's clean design makes it endlessly replayable. You want the drama of the Pacific War without the fluff, this one nails it in true wargaming fashion.
Steel Division Normandy 44, 75% discount, €4.99. We have real-time strategy now in World War II's Normandy battles, and you're going to command historical armies across very detailed maps, handling multiple phases of battle, from infantry assaults to armour, artillery and air support. The engine lets you zoom from strategic overview down to individual units, and it's a really cool feature. Battles evolve through phases, early, mid and late, unlocking units over time, and you have to manage your positioning, timing and combined arms for a fluid front. If you like games where tactical finesse matters more than your macro economy, this is your jam. Think Company of Heroes, Men of War or the Wargames series, but a tighter focus on historical battle groups in this particular campaign.
WARNO, 50% off, €19.99. This is a Cold War real-time tactics game in the spirit of the classic Wargames series, with battle groups, era-authentic units, and large combined arms classes across Central Europe. It also includes the Army General campaign layer, which adds a strategic map and turn-based planning on top of the real-time battles. Updates have added new maps, unit traits, UI improvements and regular balance passes, keeping it in active development. There are still occasional crashes, matchmaking hiccups and balance quirks depending on your chosen battle group, but it remains one of the most polished modern-era wargames on PC. I have to include this one because in recent months I've put over 100 hours into it. I absolutely love WARNO, and there's a couple of people in our Discord who definitely echo that sentiment, so a real LT Gaming favourite.
Field of Glory 2 Medieval, 40% discount, €17.39. Field of Glory 2 Medieval is a turn-based tactical war game that recreates battles from the early Middle Ages through to the 100 Years' War. You'll command armies across hex-based maps, manoeuvring units into position, exploiting flanks, and watching morale swings change the tide of battle. The combat system is rooted in historical accuracy, with units behaving as they would on real medieval battlefields. Disciplined knights, fragile levies, skirmishers are all going to have their place. If you enjoy careful positioning and the thrill of turning a flank at just the right moment, this one is going to be for you. I think it's a great fit for fans of games like Total War Medieval but want a slower pace, and tabletop wargamers that want that dice and measure tape feeling digitalised.
Rebel Fury, 20% off, €7.80. A digital take on Mark Herman's Rebel Fury board game, this one recreates 6 American Civil War battles using streamlined counters, classic turn-based sequencing, and fast readable mechanics. It sticks closely to the tabletop spirit with clear maps, low unit density and quick decision making that keeps the flow moving. It's still fresh off release and the dev has already made small balance and scenario tweaks based on community feedback. There may be the odd interface quirk or feature still bedding in, but it's a strong example of how a well-loved board design can convert cleanly into a digital wargame. Once again, this is an LT Gaming favourite and brought to you by a friend of the channel in Bob Tipton. We salute you and your awesome games. Bob has a very interesting wargame called Saratoga, which is near release, so check that out and wishlist it.